Hello, my name is Natalie Huey, and I'm going to be talking about the stress and anxiety that I have gotten from speeches. And I particularly remember this time in my senior year of high school that I had to talk about my senior project that we had. It was very informative, and it was basically talking about my project that I got to pick out all on my own surrounding my own topic, and I chose to decide mental health. And I remember when I was going through the final presentation and my final speech, I was so nervous because there were going to be over 50 people in the room. Probably the biggest audience that I've ever presented in front of, which is really scary for me. And what I did to kind of overcome that initial fear was practice constantly. I had practiced when I would work out. I would practice on the treadmill, and honestly, it made the time go by really fast. So that was good. But I would practice in the shower. I would practice on the treadmill. I would practice going to school. And after talking about it so much, when I actually presented my final presentation, it was probably the easiest presentation I had ever done. And I feel like constantly practicing and understanding that what I was saying in my presentation was all about me. Like, I was the only person who knew my project from front to back, beginning to end. And because I was the person to showcase it, I feel like my content that I was able to share was going to be so supportive of what I had written and talked about. I was the only person who knew how good of a job that I did, and being able to showcase that was really important to me. I also had my parents in the room who were recording, which kind of led a little nerves that I had because I didn't want to mess up in front of them. But because I had practiced so much and worked on my delivery, I had practiced in front of my friends just so they could hear me out. And that really helped me. I also knew that I had no microphone. So being in this group, I had to really practice my delivery on how loud I was going to speak. And that was really hard for me to do because talking loud enough that everyone could hear you can be hard when the room is high up or the ceiling's high up, and you have to think about those things. So this is my first experience having to deal with things like that and those factors. So I had to make sure that everyone was able to hear me clearly, and I was speaking at a tone and speaking loud enough for people to hear me, but not too fast that people couldn't hear me. And that was something I really took pride in while I was practicing. I also remember my teacher explaining to me that I am the only person to know my project, and I am the only one who can speak on it. Nobody can tell me what I did wrong, what I did good. I am there to showcase myself. And because this mental health project was so important to me, I was really able to have passion towards what I was saying. And I feel that having passion towards what you're talking about and discussing is so important in public speaking, because having that passion engages your audience. Like right now, me talking to you about this project makes me so happy because I can really talk about how hard I worked for it. And honestly, I ended up getting an A on that project, which shows how hard I did work. I also just felt that I had more anxiety leading up to it versus the actual day of the presentation. It was more just so the workup of having a presentation that I was really nervous about. But overall, that presentation taught me and gave me the skills that I can use now to overcome that anxiety. Yes, speaking to this camera right now is a little bit easier than speaking to 50 people, but I wouldn't trade it for the world, because right now I feel like I can utilize the context of the things that I was saying and the passion that I had in that presentation. My final thing is that one of the things that I do when I don't prepare and I get anxious during a presentation is that I'll pace during my presentation unknowingly. I've been told this by people. So what I do to overcome that was literally practicing. For this one specifically, I practiced probably 4 times before. And that just shows how much I care about presenting and how much I want to do good. Thank you.